Live from WLNS TV, this is 6 News at 6.
Today is a historic day. For just the third time in American history, the U.S. House is getting ready to vote on articles of impeachment. And the president and vice president are right here in mid-Michigan preparing to give their response. It is our top story tonight at 6. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sherry Jones.
And I'm Lauren Thompson. The debate over impeachment is nearing its end, and a vote in the House could happen at any time.
You can watch that debate live right here on WLNS.com. And if the vote on impeachment happens during this newscast tonight, we'll cut in and bring it to you live.
And as that is happening in D.C., President Trump is holding a Merry Christmas rally in Battle Creek. That's where we find Kaylee Maritat. She's here for you now live from the Kellogg Arena. Kaylee, what's the mood like there so far?
Sherry and Lauren, we've already heard from a lot of guest speakers tonight, including Speaker of the House Lee Chatfield and Chairman of the Michigan Republican Party Laura Cox, who have really been getting this crowd riled up, mostly talking about the impeachment articles. Now, we are only an hour away from when the rally is officially supposed to begin at 7 o'clock, but I actually just got a chance to speak to the communications director of the Trump 2020 campaign, and he says these impeachment articles are actually just motivating Republicans more to come out and support the president and drive them more to the polls to re-elect him in 2020.
Americans don't like it. Michiganders don't like it when one political party decides that they know best and decide to take the choice out of the hands of the voters. We've got an election less than a year away, and the Democrats in Washington want to tell the people of Michigan, you don't get to vote to re-elect this president if you want to. You don't get that choice. We in Washington, D.C., we Democrats, we're the ones who are going to make that choice. That is not an easy sell, and I don't think they can credibly make the case to the people of Michigan.
I did get the chance to talk to some protesters outside who are very anxious to hear what President Trump has to say, along with the supporters inside. But we'll have more for you tonight on 6 News at 11, along with WLNS.com. I'll be doing some Facebook Lives to keep you guys updated on what's going on here. Here for you now in Battle Creek. Kaylee Maritat, 6 News. Sherry and Lauren, back to you.
All right, thank you, Kaylee. Well, the Merry Christmas rally is drawing a lot of supporters to Battle Creek, but as Kaylee mentioned, the president's opponents are also making an appearance.
Yes, a handful of protesters gathered outside the Kellogg Arena to voice their disapproval. The demonstrators stood in the snow carrying protest signs and taking turns speaking about how they believe the Trump administration has fallen short in America and in Battle Creek specifically.
Donald Trump has come to town once again. I think it's a desperate attempt to try to shore up support here on the west side of the state, where we've made some terrific inroads as Democrats. We've got great folks running and great folks on the ground doing work every day, knocking doors and making phone calls. And we wanted to make sure that he saw that Michigan is not for him this time. You know, we're going to take this state back and take this country back.
Organizers say they want to turn Calhoun County and the entire state blue in the 2020 election.
Well, Vice President Mike Pence is also at that rally tonight after spending the day traveling across mid-Michigan in his tour bus.
The vice president landed in Saginaw, where he spoke at a Workers for Trump rally this morning. Then he actually made 2 surprise stops in Frankenmuth.
I was able to travel in the motorcade today and got an exclusive one-on-one interview with Vice President Pence. We spoke about a number of things, but on this big day in Washington, we mainly focused on the impeachment proceedings before Congress. Strong words today from Vice President Mike Pence on the impeachment proceedings in D.C.
Well, what's happening in Washington, D.C. is a disgrace.
For the second time in 2 weeks, the vice president sat down for an exclusive interview with 6 News on what could be a historic day in Washington.
As the vote goes through the Congress today, we expect these articles of impeachment will pass.
But the vice president says that passage will fall solely along party lines.
The first truly partisan impeachment in American history is essentially an attempt to overturn the results of the 2016 election. They're essentially saying to the people of Michigan and America that they know better.
But even as impeachment in the House looks likely, the vice president says he's confident this movement will end in the Senate early next year and believes that President Donald Trump will still be securely in office.
If this matter makes it to the Senate, we expect them to be able to deal with it fairly quickly, dispatch this impeachment effort, this partisan impeachment effort, and get back to the business of the American people.
Wow, what an experience for you to travel with the Vice President today.
It really is an exciting thing to be a part of, to get a behind-the-scenes look at the process and how the Secret Service works and all that goes into having a Vice President or a President come to town. And as we said, this is actually the second time in just 2 weeks that I was able to travel with the Vice President and speak with him. And we did cover other topics today as well. And Michigan's role, of course, in the 2020 election is something else that we touched on, and we'll share with you tonight what the Vice President had to say about that on 6 News at 11.
All right, we look forward to it. Thanks, Lauren. Well, the vote on the impeachment of President Trump is expected to begin at any point tonight.
And as you would expect, other Michigan lawmakers are weighing in on that process today, too.
Our team coverage continues this evening with Luke Snyder. He's here for you now live in our newsroom with that part of the story.
After weeks of testimony related to the president's dealings with Ukraine, all eyes are on Capitol Hill at this hour to see if the president will be impeached. And Michigan lawmakers were front and center on the House floor today. Two of the more vocal Congresspeople were Republican Congressman Tim Walberg and Democrat Rashida Tlaib.
You are the ones obstructing justice. You are the ones bringing pain and suffering to our republic for your own selfish, personal, political, and partisan gain.
Doing nothing here, Madam Speaker, is not an option. Looking away from these crimes against our country is not an option. This is about protecting the future of our nation and our democracy from corruption, abuse of power, criminal cover-ups, and bribery.
If the vote passes, President Trump will become only the third president to be impeached. Sherry and Lauren, back to you.
All right, thank you, Luke. We'll stay with 6 News. We will bring you full coverage of the impeachment process as it happens, and we'll have the president's comments from Battle Creek tonight and more from our exclusive interview with Vice President Mike Pence. That's all coming up on 6 News at 11.
Tonight, many people are debating whether survivors of Larry Nassar's sexual abuse are being taken advantage of again, this time at the hands of an attorney.
A group of survivors suing USA Gymnastics is being charged nearly 40% more than clients of a similar case with the same lawyer. Kara Hay is here for you to explain why.
USA Gymnastics filed for bankruptcy last year, a move it says would help resolve about 100 lawsuits from more than 350 Larry Nassar sexual abuse survivors. But in turn, the women had to hire an attorney who specializes in bankruptcy claims. They hired James Stang. According to the Washington Post, he's charging them $1,145 an hour, a fee a judge approved, but other attorneys in his field say is too much.
His competitor said, look, there's no reason why that case should cost $1,000 an hour.
Will Hobson, a reporter with the Washington Post, says lawyers of abuse victims typically discount their fees. Stang isn't. Well, at least not for the Nassar survivors. Stang also represents abuse victims of Catholic priests, and he's charging them 35 to 40% less.
Experts we spoke to said that there's no real legal reason that why working on this case should be any more complicated or expensive or time-consuming than working on a Catholic bankruptcy.
But Hobson says ultimately it could have all come down to negotiations.
But the victims in the Catholic cases he was working with drove a harder bargain than the Nassar victims.
Most of the Nassar survivors Hobson spoke with say
he charges more, but he's going to win them more at the end.
If things change and Nassar survivors feel the fee is too much, they can file an objection in court. But as of now, Hobson hasn't heard anyone is considering. Here for you in Lansing, Kiara Hay, 6 News.
This is Weather First from Storm Tracker 6, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance for whatever lies ahead.
Well, breathe easy as far as the cold weather is concerned. This winter chill that's here today is not here to stay. We've got much warmer weather on the horizon. Holiday lights picture time. Another beautiful video coming to us from the Patterson family on Vandercook Lake. Happy holidays to you as well. You have got a spectacular looking display there. I love it. To have your holiday pictures featured in our newscast, go to Facebook. You can search for WLNS 6 Lights and post your pictures there, and still plenty of time to get a lot more photos on the air. Satellite and radar snow showers continue off to our southwest. It's really been coming down over the past past 12 to 18 hours or so. So we take the broader view, you can see some snow showers northwestern, lower Michigan, and a few in the UP as well, but it will be winding down fairly soon. Our temperatures out this afternoon, obviously very cold. 12 the airport observation Lansing, 12 Mason, 14 in Howell, but we're not going to fall a lot late tonight and may even rise a bit by tomorrow morning. If you're out on the area streets, in pretty good shape overall, but still some secondary roads will have some slick spots here and there. WLNS Tower Cam 127 appears to be moving along at normal speeds. Temperature 14 degrees. Our feels like temperature also 14. In Grand Ledge, just a hint of sunshine, a star out there. Isn't that a beautiful shot, except for it's really cold outside. 13 degrees the current temperature. Winds calm. Peak wind earlier today, 34 miles per hour, so it was quite breezy at times. On the Jackson Cam, more or less the same shot. Beautiful sky. Temperature 14 degrees, but a wind chill feels like 4 degrees outside. Bundle up if you are heading out this evening. Wind chill in Hillsdale is at 8, west winds at 5, and a current temperature sitting at 14 degrees. So we check out PrecisionCast tonight through tomorrow morning. Lake effect shuts down, a quiet start, and temperatures will actually warm into the mid-teens through 7 o'clock. So even by 7, it's starting to head back in the right direction. By tomorrow afternoon, we're in the low 30s, a mix of clouds and sunshine outside. Thursday night into Friday morning should be fairly quiet once again as well. No major storm systems in the region right through much of the week and into the weekend as well, into early next week. Not a whole lot happening. The only thing we're watching for is to see if this cloud cover can break up just a little bit. If it does on Saturday, we'll see high temperatures climbing into the 40s. Here's the forecast for tonight. Partly cloudy, cold, overnight low 10 degrees. That'll occur right around midnight. 16 by 7 o'clock, low 30s by 4 o'clock. Winds tomorrow occasionally as high as around 15 miles per hour. There's the 6-day forecast. 34 on Friday, 41 Saturday, mid-40s Sunday, Monday, and lower 40s on Tuesday for Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, 38, starts to cool off. And then a few rain showers Thursday, and cold enough to mix in a few snow showers, and eventually all snow showers by next Monday, but I still don't see certainly not a major winter storm anytime soon. Traffic tracker this afternoon, all quiet across the Lansing area as well as Jackson. No major issues out there, no matter what direction you're headed. So that is great news. Been pretty quiet traffic-wise this week, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, and that accident we were following up on 69 is cleared up as well.
Yeah.
Beautiful sunset. So, hey.
For just a few degrees warmer.
Oh, it is just brutally cold today.
Yeah. Yes, thanks, David.
Well, Governor Gretchen Whitmer held a roundtable for reporters today to talk about her first year in office, and we'll tell you what she had to say right after the break.
And here's a live look right now at the impeachment debate happening on Capitol Hill. 6 News at 6. We'll be right back. Governor Gretchen Whitmer met with reporters today to talk about her first year in office, which she says has been a wild ride with many ups and downs.
Our Capitol correspondent Tim Skubic was at the year-end roundtable where the governor also weighed in on the impeachment process in D.C.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer, along with the rest of the nation, is watching this historic day unfold in the nation's capital over the impeachment of the president. Democratic Congresswoman Elisa Slotkin handled this issue correctly, according to the governor, promising to take a deep dive before she made a decision. The governor says Ms. Slotkin is getting it right by voting yes.
I have a great deal of admiration for her, and if I were in her position and was having to make that choice, I too would make the vote that she is going to be making.
Back home, the governor promises a brand new road package in the new year, finally throwing in the towel on that plan that, well, didn't do too well this year.
To do the same thing in year two, I think would probably not be wise.
Meanwhile, some progressive Democrats, such as Senator Jeff Irwin and a host of others, are talking about installing a graduated income tax, a longtime favor of Democrats, including this one.
There's a lot of conversation in town around that. I know that there are a lot of stakeholders that are interested in going to the ballot with something of that nature. I know that a lot of legislators on the Democratic side have been talking about that, and that's something that I've supported and many different times in my political career, and I suppose that could be a solution.
The governor started the new year with high hopes of working well with the Republican legislature to get things done. She says it was a wild ride, up and down, and she did learn something.
I'm not perfect. I certainly have learned a lot in this process. I think that the way that we expend my time, the way that I am engaged with people across our state and business across our state is something that's important, and becoming, I think, a better manager of that time and putting our priorities where they really need to be, I think, is something that we'll hone and improve upon.
The governor has one more year-end interview to do as she sits down at the executive residence for a 1-hour chat on WKAR's Evening with the Governor, and get a full report on what she said right here on News 6. Here for you in Lansing, Tim Skubic, 6 News.
Well, Audrey will join us after the break with sports. She's going to fill us in on Mark D'Antonio's busy morning.
He welcomed 19 new Spartans to Michigan State's football program. She'll have those details next.
This is the LaFontaine Automotive Group 6 Sports Desk.
By 10 a.m. this morning, Mark D'Antonio had all 19 of his signees' national letters of intent in his hands. And the one thing he made sure to point out about Michigan State's 2020 recruiting class is how almost every player had an extremely productive senior season. Many won state championships with their high schools. If you break down this class by position group, there are 8 offensive players, 10 defensive guys, and 1 special teams player and kicker Jack Olson from Wheaton, Illinois. But this isn't it. D'Antonio says this class could end up being anywhere from 21 to 25 players after the traditional signing day takes place in February. But as of right now, this class ranks 42nd in the country and 11th in the Big Ten. There's just one quarterback. His name is Noah Kim, and he just so happens to have a black belt in karate.
How many quarterbacks do you know that have a black belt in karate?
I have none to my knowledge. So, but that was exciting to hear. I think he competed from maybe his 3rd grade and through his 9th grade year. I just asked him if he ever broke a board. He said, yeah. I said that was good enough.
So going off of that then, how does a skill like that translate to the football field, especially at that position in terms of maybe his footwork and being able to be creative, as you mentioned?
Yeah, I think as much as anything, it's the discipline that goes along with it. And in a quarterback position, you need to be disciplined. You need to be very confident in yourself, very aware of your surroundings. I think that probably carries over from karate. I don't know that to be true. I'm not an expert, but I would think that holds that value. And then also, I think he is a quick twitch guy, and you can see that on film.
Here in town, Williamston's Eston Miles made it official with Western Michigan University, meaning the 6'3", 310-pound defensive tackle will be taking his talents to Kalamazoo next fall. He's just the 3rd football player to come out of Willie and play at the Division I level. And to think it may have never happened. He was a very good junior varsity baseball player and thought that was the route he initially wanted to take until his dad convinced him otherwise.
10th grade. I wasn't going to play, and then he said, no, just give it one more try, and then I got my mom on board to let me quit, and he fought it, and then, I had a good season, and then, it kind of took off from there.
Saw him as a freshman, 8th grader in reality, and just to see his development over time. As a sophomore, he was making plays on the varsity, but really his junior year, he kind of made that big step of like, wow, this guy is 300 pounds. He's a big dude, and he can run down the line and make tackles, and he's hard to block.
By the way, Miles has a heck of a handshake. All right, time to shift our focus to the MSU men's basketball team, and that's because the 15th ranked Spartans are just a few hours away from trying to do what no other team in the Big Ten has been able to accomplish this season, and that's get a win on the road. As expected, we were able to confirm, though, that freshman shooting guard Rocket Watts will not play tonight against Northwestern, which means those minutes are going to go to sophomores Gabe Brown and Aaron Henry. Northwestern may be at the bottom of the Big Ten standings, but that means absolutely nothing with a 13-way tie going on in the conference heading into tonight's tilt. And there's this.
They got good players that came back. They got a good coach. They got a good offense, good defense. And they're a tough team. They can rebound, they can run, they can defend. It's going to be a tough game, but I know both teams are going to compete.
They look a lot, more stronger and just more active, I would say, on both ends of the floor. And they've always competed, and we've had trouble there in the past. But just one of those teams that's always executed well, from even their plays on offense to the out-of-bounds plays they run. They just are just a well-fundamental team.
That game starts at 8 o'clock tonight. It's in Evanston, and of course, we will have all the highlights tonight at 11. That's it for sports. We'll be back after the break.
Well, the Christmas tree is set. The packages are under the tree. Now, what about the weather?
Well, Santa's going to need some rollers on his sleigh because it doesn't look great. Here's just kind of an early look at the forecast. We've talked about it though. Temperatures in the upper 30s, and this year maybe not so much a white Christmas as a green Christmas. All the snow we've got.
Melted.
He did, but you know, it's magic. He'll come back. 40s as we head into Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. It gets colder by Christmas Day, but really no chance, I don't think, of any snow on the ground.
Yeah, that is one dry 6 day, isn't it?
I know, pretty unusual.
Did the stockings have our names on it?
They did.
I caught that.
Very good.
So special.
Jerry Jones.
Super creative, David.
Thanks, David. Well, that's our time for now. Stay tuned for 6 News at 11.